The MBTI or the Enneagram, which one is better and which one should you use? Find out now in this video right now where I'm comparing the two. Welcome to Making Mindfulness Fun. I'm Isabelle, the co-founder of Making Mindfulness Fun, and I'm a Mindfulness and Enneagram coach. I help you understand who you are using personality typing and mindfulness so that you can have healthier relationships when it comes to your family, your friends, your partner, and most importantly, yourself. In this video, I'm comparing the Myers-Briggs type indicator with the Enneagram because these are two personality typing systems that I see are very popular, both very good, but the question often comes up is which is better. So here's the difference between the two and which one is better. So first, let's talk about the Myers-Briggs. If you don't know anything about the MBTI is a personality typing system with 16 different personalities. And these personality types come from what your cognitive functions are. They're based upon how you use your mind. So as we grow up in childhood, we have to have this programming. We have to have a way which our brain can function, a way that it knows how to function so that we can go through life because we are survival beings. We needed this programming originally so that we could survive. And so, different Myers-Briggs types have different mind programmings based on their cognitive functions. There are 8 different cognitive functions which control how we see the world, how we think about ideas, how we feel people's emotions and our own emotions, and how we think. So depending on your Myers-Briggs type, you function differently within your mind. Your mind thinks differently than other people. There are also 16 different types, whereas the Enneagram has only 9. And the Myers-Briggs was based off of the Carl Jung archetypes, the original archetypes, and they were later then transformed down the line as time passed into the Myers-Briggs. This one is very popular that I see, much more than the Enneagram, though the Enneagram is up on the rise even more and more nowadays, which I'm very happy about because the Enneagram is also a good system. But the Myers-Briggs is the first one that I discovered, and it is a very good system because it tells you how your brain works. This is a very helpful way for you. It's often though dubbed as this just stereotypical personality test like you see on BuzzFeed where they say, which Disney princess am I? Or find out what potato chip you are based on your personality. The Myers-Briggs is very common and so it's been dumbed down a little bit. However, the Myers-Briggs is a very powerful system for figuring out how your mind works, and this can be very powerful for businesses, for hiring people, because certain personality types are going to be better at certain jobs because their minds work different. This is great for also figuring out what career you want to enter. So those are some of the benefits of the Myers-Briggs. And it's another thing about the Myers-Briggs too is that because it rules how your brain functions, it's also very helpful for our growth, evolution, and how we step into our higher selves because it tells us our cognitive functions and what minds we need to start possessing more, and it's going to show how other people's brains work differently. So it helps us so much when it comes to getting along with other people because it tells us how our minds work. And then there's the Enneagram. What makes the Enneagram different from the Myers-Briggs? Well, there is a lot of similarity is that both these personality typing systems come from our programming, from our childhood and our childhood wounds, because this is where our personality is formed. Our personality is formed in those first 7 years. It is always evolving, but that first part, that first programming and hardwiring, that is developed in the first years of our lives, and that's what's in common with the Enneagram and the MBTI. The Enneagram and the MBTI are both focused on how you were in childhood and how your brain was programmed. The difference is Myers-Briggs is just focused on how your mind was programmed, whereas the Enneagram more focused on your childhood wounds and your trauma. We all have trauma. The brain, after all, we all process trauma the same way, no matter how big or how small it is. And so we have this programming, this trauma from a young age that creates our Enneagram type. And so the Enneagram is based around that. There are 9 Enneagram types, whereas the MBTI, like I said, has 16. The Enneagram has 9 types, and each of these types has a different programming, which forms a core desire. And this is what makes the Enneagram different mainly from the Myers-Briggs. Whereas the Myers-Briggs focus on the traits that you have and how you think and what careers you're going to be good at, how you interact with the external world. The Enneagram is focused on what your internal world is like. The Myers-Briggs focuses on how you seem to other people. It's how people are going to see you, how you're going to interact, what you seem like. Whereas the Enneagram is more about what you're processing internally, what's going on in the inner workings, and how that's going to affect your external reality. You see the difference I'm getting at? So the Enneagram is really great for figuring out your core desire, because each Enneagram type, like I said, has a different core desire. So for example, the type 9 is their core desire is harmony and peace. The type 2 core desire is to serve other people. The type 3 is achievement. Each one has such a different core desire, and that's why it's so important to know your Enneagram type as well, because this determines how we go throughout life. So for example, I see so many people mistype in the Enneagram as well, especially as it becomes more and more popular. More and more people are mistyping, and this ends up leading them to living a life that's not aligned with their core desires. So if you mistyped as someone who needs challenge versus if you're really someone who needs safety, you're gonna start pursuing more of what you think you need when it's actually just draining you. And so the Enneagram can be a really great tool for us to help live more fulfilling lives and to notice those childhood wounds and get over those traumas, anything that we might have had, whether it was a big trauma or a small one. We have to recognize whatever hurt we may have had from our past, and the Enneagram helps us do that. The Enneagram is also really powerful for our growth because there are growth numbers. We each become a different number in growth versus in stress, so it can be really good for our own self-care, for our mindfulness practice, to use the Enneagram to notice and have markers of when you're in a good spot versus when you're in a bad spot. So that's what makes the Enneagram really different from the Myers-Briggs, but which is better? My answer is both are incredible. If you're trying to figure out which one is better, you really need to look into both. But if you're gonna start with one, start with the Enneagram so that you start looking at what's going on internally first before you start looking at how you're going about the external world. But if you're more struggling right now to find what you're gonna be good at in a career, if you're trying to figure out just why you feel like you're so boxed in or why someone's frustrated with you, and you wanna figure out more of how people work, look into the Myers-Briggs, because the Myers-Briggs is going to help you figure out how your mind works and how you think and what you're going to be good at based on that. But I really recommend you look into the Enneagram first, because the Enneagram cuts straight to the point that we need to look at. It helps us dive deep. It becomes mindful, and mindfulness is the first step. If you know anything about us and Making Mindfulness Fun, we help you on your journey to higher consciousness so you can experience more joy, love, and emotional liberation. We are all about making your mindfulness practice fun, because mindfulness is the first step to living a fulfilling life. And so the Enneagram is the first step in helping you become mindful. It's the easiest way to do so, in my opinion. But I still believe that the Myers-Briggs is really important as well. So first, find your Enneagram type. That is what you should do first. That doesn't necessarily make it better. It just means it is easier, and it's going to help you more stay on your path for what you want, because once you discover your core desire, it's going to change your life. When I discovered my core desire and I understood my Enneagram type, my life became so much easier. That wasn't necessarily true for the Myers-Briggs, especially because with more types in the Myers-Briggs, it's more easy for us to mistype as a different type. I see so many people out there who think they're INFJs, who are advocates when they're not at all. And so we perceive ourselves differently. And it's not our fault that we always mistype. It's not our fault that these people mistype. It's just that we perceive ourselves differently than we actually are, because we have this ego. We just see ourselves differently. It's impossible for us to see our true selves unless we're extremely mindful. So I recommend, though, that if you want to discover your Myers-Briggs or your Enneagram, whichever one you want to start with, you need to hit the link below and get our free Precision Personality Hacker and Enneagram cheat sheets. My Enneagram cheat sheets are going to help you discover what your type is correctly, because the tests don't work. You can do the test if you want. I know quizzes are fun. I think they're fun, but it ends up always mistyping you, and you do not want to mistype, because it's going to just take you off on an indirect course to what you don't want. So hit the link below and get my free Enneagram cheat sheets, where I break down what each type truly is, and it's going to make it easy for you to find your true Enneagram type. And within each cheat sheet, I include self-care that you would not think of for this Enneagram type. So hit the link below and get those free Enneagram cheat sheets and the free Precision Personality Hacker, where me, Gabby, and Robin break down what each Myers-Briggs type is and what each Enneagram type is, and how so you can overcome mistyping. We make it so that you do not have to mistype and you can find your correct type. It's an easy, 1-day bundle. It makes it super easy to not mistype, and hit the link below to get it right now. It is free. No cost to you. It takes 1 minute to download it. You're gonna love it so much. So I hope this video helped you figure out what the difference is between the Myers-Briggs typing indicator, also known as the MBTI, versus the Enneagram. Please leave a comment below and let me know what you think about each one. Which one do you like better and why? And please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for further videos, and check out the rest of our YouTube channel where we have more videos on the Myers-Briggs and the Enneagram. I hope you have a wonderful day.